fix my...
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. I am indeed Captain Logan, and joining me as always is my chat moderator and wonderful producer, DJ Martinez.
What's up?
What's up, DJ? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic.
It's good to see you, man. Hey, guess what happened last weekend?
Comic-Con.
Comic-Con happened. Right? That's right. You got it right. Riddle me this, DJ. You got it right. Comic-Con was last weekend, and there is a whole bunch of news to talk about this week. And this lined up really well because this was not the reason necessarily that I added a second show this week, but we're doing two shows back-to-back this week, tonight and tomorrow night, once again at 7 o'clock Central, and DJ will be here for that one as well. And we not only hit a goal last week, but we absolutely completely crushed it. No thanks to DJ. He couldn't even make it that night. And somehow or rather, we just completely smashed a goal. I want to thank everybody so much for helping us not only get there, because it was one guy that got us there. And then after that, we had a whole bunch more great super chats. And thanks to everybody who threw those in. And we had a really fun show. I was all by myself. I had to fill an hour's worth of time all by my lonesome, but mostly an hour. I looked at the clock wrong and shut down a few minutes early. And so anyway, thanks everybody for that. So this week we've got two shows. Tonight we're going to tackle Marvel Cinematic Universe Phase 4. We're going to talk about all of the news that came out of Comic-Con from there. As always with the Captain Logan Show, this is a Q&A show. So even though this is kind of a specialized thing, we're going to be talking specifically about the news from that convention, I do not have notes. I don't have a list of things that we're going to talk about. The show, as always, is completely up to you guys. So we're going to have some pre-written questions and topics. Doesn't have to be a question, can just be a topic. Totally cool if you want to just say, hey, Cap, talk about this. And if you want to leave a super chat and make absolutely certain that I cover something, you can do that as well. As always, tonight, just Marvel, and not comics, just Marvel Cinematic Universe, because I think there's enough stuff to cover to fill a whole hour just from that. We'll do some speculation. I'll follow up a little bit from that video I made last week. DJ, can you believe I did that? I had completely forgotten Comic-Con was coming up when I made that video. And do you know what I'm talking about? The
MCU video.
MCU video, yeah. And I was talking in that about how we didn't have the slate yet. And a lot of people left comments and were like, oh, the slate's going to come out next week, Cap. Like, this video is premature. What's wrong with you? And then we got the slate. There's news. There's new stuff we found out about, but there are no new projects in Phase 4. We know the order now, we know the release dates, but nothing announced that we didn't know about. And so a lot of my concerns and suggestions and things I think still stand. I was kind of excited that video did not feel as outdated as I thought it would immediately after Comic-Con. But anyway, so MCU tonight, that's what we're going to chat about. If you guys have, with Super Chats, any other like channel questions that are just really, really pressing and you really got to ask me something, that's okay. I don't want to do too much of that, but please don't ask about anything else from Comic-Con tonight except for the Marvel side of things. DJ, I think we can probably do, if anything, I mean, I don't think there was any news, but just speculating and looking at the future and stuff. If anybody wants to ask anything about Star Wars, I think tonight's probably an okay night for that as well, since that's so interconnected to, like, the Disney thing. So that's all right, too. If something about Star Wars comes up, that's cool, but I want to keep this mostly MCU. So DJ has compiled some questions from the non-Super Chat crowd that folks have left earlier, and why don't we start with one of those, and then we've already got a couple Super Chats, and we'll do that soon. I'm seeing a whole bunch of questions. People are once again complaining that my audio is too quiet. So here's the thing. I'm turning everything up as loud as I can turn it up. I thought it was my microphone. I'm gonna get a new mic soon and see if that's what it is, but I've been testing this mic with every other program, and it has been absolutely fine. It's been working just like it's supposed to. It seems to just be OBS, so I don't know if it's this mic, or if it's, for some reason, DJ is so much louder than me, as has been happening, and it's actually on DJ's, it's not on DJ's end, but something to do with OBS and how it's dealing with us. If you guys could see my sliders right now, it's ridiculous. I mean, I've got DJ like as far down as humanly possible, and then I'm like way up. I don't know what's going on. So I apologize once again for how you guys are going to have to deal with your volume levels in listening to the show, but we'll try to do better again. Or we'll try to do better soon as I can get a new microphone, but I just couldn't make it happen. But I'm also not convinced that that'll fix it. So
Yeah,
I don't
because
know. I don't know,
yeah,
DJ.
you sound perfect to me. Like, you're really loud in my ears. It's just going through OBS that's doing something weird to it.
And I've looked at all the settings. I cannot figure it out. And the unfortunate thing is, OBS is just the only way we can do this now at this point. I'm looking at my settings again right now just to see if there's something. Because I haven't looked at this in a while, but I'm not seeing anything. Yeah, I mean, I'm using my MIDI. Excuse me, my Yeti. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, okay. Well, let's go ahead and just get right into stuff. Hey, DJ, are you ready to talk about the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Absolutely. I got tons of questions here, guys. I'm going to try to get to as many as I can, but if you want to make sure that I have to read it, you can drop a super chat in there.
Because I love making preamble go as long as humanly possible. But it's my favorite thing. Before we get started, DJ, what thing on the horizon in the next 2 years during Phase 4 are you most stoked for?
Probably a tie between, I'm going to give a 2-for-1. Thor, not Thor, what am I saying? Hawkeye.
That would have blown my mind.
Hawkeye and Shang-Chi are the two I'm most excited about.
Really, yeah, Eric's really stoked about Shang-Chi as well.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
You won't believe mine. You won't believe mine, because this was not the case. Well, it's still Falcon and Winter Soldier, but as far as like singular movies go, because it's interesting that all that's on the same slate, right? That they're counting the TV shows as part of Phase 4. It's all canonical, and it's with those actors, so it makes sense that they're doing that. But I didn't actually really expect that. It's interesting. For me, as far as just movies I have to go to the theater to see, it's Doctor Strange, and
Yeah.
I didn't think it was gonna, but then that title is awesome, and then we found out about Scarlet Witch, and that's very exciting. So yeah, suddenly that's the movie I'm most excited about. Okay, let's start with the pre-written questions. Go ahead, DJ.
Well, that was actually the first pre-written question from Cinematographics, so right along.
Oh, was it really? Wow, read your mind.
Yeah.
Just what we were most stoked for?
Yeah. What was your most excited for in Phase 4? So
Next
I'll move on to
time,
this one.
I'll just let you have the floor, buddy.
Creepy Spacey with a pre-written question. How awesome is it that Cottonmouth is Blade? So Mahershala Ali obviously got cast as Blade.
Oh, I'm glad
it's really
you said
awesome.
his name. I can never remember it. He's
he's awesome.
name.
Mahershala Ali,
And
yeah, really exciting.
And he's an actor I love. It's very exciting. Apparently, he went to Marvel and asked them if he could be Blade. It sounds like they have. It's not going to be till Phase 5 or 6, but it sounds like they maybe rushed it in or rushing it into production because he wants to be Blade. Like, I don't even know that there was a Blade movie that they were talking about. Like, there had been discussions that maybe at some point we'll do something with Blade. I always assumed television. And I think if those street-level shows had stayed on Netflix, that could have happened. But going to the Disney Plus place, I can totally see going to... It becomes 6 of one and half a dozen of the other at that point. Also, did Feige come out and say for sure that it would be a movie and not a TV show?
Everything I'm hearing, people are saying pretty certain that it's a movie.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But we're starting to blur the lines really hard now, especially the way we're looking at the slate. But no, that's exciting casting. I think that's awesome. I'm very excited about it. And a thing I keep hearing people say after that is, oh no, that is the biggest nail in the coffin for the Netflix shows. Like now we know for sure they're decanonicized. Yeah. We didn't need any more confirmation of that. They already even when they were still on, and before they started getting canceled, we already pretty much had a good sense that I can't remember who it was that I saw on the SSSS write this the other day, but I like the way it was worded, because Dan Torrey brought that up and was like, oh, are they not canonical? And somebody said, the movies are canonical with the shows, but the shows are not canonical with the movies. And I think that's been true for a long time. I don't think we needed them to get canceled, or we needed an actor to end up in both as major characters before that happened. We already had a tiny bit of that having happened before. With there was precedent set with and from the same show from Luke Cage,
from his sister,
with Mariah, who had a bit role in what was it, Civil War?
Yeah, Civil War.
At the beginning of Civil War, Alfred Woodard.
Yeah. So I don't think that means anything more.
Trivia.
It's just
that's not important.
Yeah. Man, the super chats are flying in.
Well, we better start rolling on it then. Go right ahead, sir.
Yeah. This lined up weird. Sorry about this. Creepy Spacey, $4.99. Cap, what do you find more disturbing? Luke drinking from an alien's breast in Last Jedi, or the three... I'm reading this for the first time, which is probably not a good idea.
I'm reading this now for the first time.
Or the three-breasted cat lady from Star Trek V.
Ooh, I'm gonna give it to the blue milk. I'm gonna give it to the blue milk, but that's mostly only because I wasn't expecting that, and I grew up with the three-breasted cat lady. Like, I've seen that movie so many times. I'm just kind of already used to that. In fact, I think it was like I saw that so much when I was a kid. I had to get older before I was like, oh no, that is kind of weird. So like, I just got so used to it, and I don't know. That's kind of a Roddenberry flourish. Well, I say that. He wasn't really involved in that movie, but he wanted I don't know if you guys know this, he wanted the Betazoids in TNG to be, I think, three-breasted or four-breasted, and I think it was DC Fontana who told him, yeah, that's just so incredibly impractical. That's a really bad idea. We shouldn't do that. Like, it would be like really impractical if you were a woman and you had to deal with a third breast. She was like, let's not do that. And so he didn't. But yeah, the whole three-breasted alien thing has been around in Star Trek for a while. But yeah, so I'm gonna give it to blue milk. Yeah, I answered that question because it was a super chat. DJ, can you hear me? What has happened? I don't know if we've lost DJ or what exactly is going on here. He's frozen up on us, folks. Either he's frozen up or I've frozen up. I don't know what's going on right now. I'm going to wait just a second and see if he pops back in soon. DJ? Hello, sir. Yeah, I guess we lost him. Okay, I'm going to try to call him back. Somebody just said R.I.P. DJ. I'm trying to call him back. No, we can't do super chats without DJ. It's very important. Yes, he's messaging me. Yes, we just lost you. Come back. Well, this is professional. He is having a hard time getting back in. Okay, while we're waiting for him, I will scroll back up and tackle another super chat. I just want to make sure we don't miss anything. That would be bad. Okay, Bag Studios, $4.99 super chat. Blade can easily be PG-13, right? Yeah, a lot of people are immediately kind of responded to that with, oh no, not R Blade. Blade has to be R. And I've been hearing a lot of pushback on that from other fans. Who should direct? What are you hoping for in Eternals? Well, just a bunch of questions all at once here. Once again, an economical super chat. What's your pitch? What are you surprised wasn't shown? And what'll be at D23? Well, I will say the biggest thing I was surprised wasn't shown. I'll go backwards, and some of this I'm gonna try to answer a little bit, but skate past because I'm not great at like necessarily who should direct what. But anyway, as far as what I'm most surprised wasn't shown, anything about Spider-Man. I figured we would fast-track a Spider-Man movie for Phase 4, considering that most of those characters are kids, and they are, getting older, so I was a little surprised that we didn't see anything about Spider-Man, especially because of the cliffhanger with that movie. I still can't get DJ. I don't know what's going on here. And then about Eternals and pitch, I don't really have a pitch for Eternals. Eternals is not a thing I have ever read. I know next to nothing about that property. But it will be exciting to get something else that is a thing that's been in Marvel's for a really long time, or in Marvel, for a long time, that I'm not familiar with and see how they handle it. It was really exciting and great with Guardians, and it's cool that we're doing that with something else. They've had other properties that are a little bit less well known, and I guess Shang-Chi is also kind of that way, but that one especially is just a real obscure thing for most of the mainstream, and including myself. I may try to read a little bit and take a look at that property and learn something about it before I go into it. And then Blade being PG-13, I totally agree with that. I think it can. I think you can push the envelope pretty far. It doesn't have to be, and I'm not saying the original Blade films were straight up horror films, but it doesn't have to have a like major horror bent or be super ultra violent to still be as hard edged and in the ways in which it needs to be kind of disturbing and still be PG-13. I hope it's not a super like, you know, watered down piece. I hope that it's got some of a similar style to the original movies. I mean, I don't want the exact same thing, but it would be nice if it wasn't too much of the house style. I want it to be somewhat stylized, I guess is what I'm saying. But I don't have any problem with Blade being PG-13. Punisher being PG-13 would be tough. Daredevil is a little bit easier to do that with, but there's kind of a line there. But Blade especially, I don't think is too difficult to do that way. Still don't know what's going on with DJ here. Hoping he's able to pop back in pretty soon. Stussy puts in a $1.99 super chat. What did Eric think of the Phase 4 announcements? From what little I talked to Eric about it, he's as excited as I am about the Doctor Strange title. That calls back to H.P. Lovecraft in the Mountain of Madness, and it's just a really fun title. I think he's excited about the Scarlet Witch thing with that. Shang-Chi, I think, is the thing that he's most excited about. He felt the way I did about Thor 4 being directed by the same director from Ragnarok. Not being real excited about that because neither of us really cared for Ragnarok, and we're worried about it being continuing in too much of that comedic direction and not really feeling like Thor. He seems kind of out of character, and also the Lady Thor thing, neither of us are really super on board with. I hope they win me over on that. Well, and I say that he says he's just not even gonna see Thor 4. He has no intention of even doing that. So okay, I'm going to close out my Skype. There it goes. That was weird. It tried to call me on both my my desktop and my tablet over here.
Oh, sorry.
I had like stereo.
I don't know what the world is happening.
What was that? That was crazy.
I have no idea. It just dropped me, and then I was trying to call you back, but it said you were unavailable.
Well, I fumbled around until you came back. I'm an invalid. I don't really understand how to read super chats. I don't know how to do that. I need somebody to do that for me. I don't have the pre-written questions. It is just essential to have another person. I don't know how we more than doubled the goal last week with me being the only person here, especially after I botched 2 out of the 3 things I had to do. It's just not that hard, you know. You be on time and you broadcast for a whole hour. You answer all the super chats and you just talk into a camera and try not to have too much dead air. I did that 3rd thing. That's all I did right, though. Everything else I totally botched.
Nah, it was a good show. I watched some of it back.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
I'm just looking at the comments, and they're hilarious. Everyone's just like, no!
I haven't been able to look at the comments because I had to scroll up and go find the super chat, so I don't think I missed anything. The last thing I answered was Bag's economical 5-part super chat. There was a question for every dollar in that super chat. And
oh yeah, okay. I see that one.
just talked about Stussy's super chat, talking about what Eric thought of the Phase 4 announcement. So let's go back to Bag Studios.
All right,
and there was not a question per dollar on this one. Thanks for all the super chats, buddy. We sure appreciate it, man.
All right, $4.99. Cap, when you get into it, can you tell if we're watching you twirl the sticks?
That is a reference to the TMBG song Dr. Worm. That's a good one. And like Dr. Worm, I'm not a real what was it? Like to play the drums. I'm not a real drummer, but I am a real worm. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so I am a real worm.
And then the
right.
second half of it is, anyways, what are your thoughts on the Kylo Ren origin comic series?
That's what it is. I'm not a real doctor, but I am a real worm. I'm sorry, what?
What are your thoughts on the Kylo Ren origin comic series?
I just heard about that today from Dan, and I've not looked at any details if there are any, so all I know is there's going to be a Kylo Ren origin comic. Yay. I'm mixed on that because it's one of those things where I wonder how much of what might be in that would be relevant that we'd really wish were in the movies will actually show up in the next movie. So my concern would be it's either going to be really superfluous and it'll be an origin, but it doesn't really tell us anything, or it will feel like really super important and it won't show up in the movies. And I don't like either of those things. And that's always the problem with tie-in stuff, but particularly with Star Wars, because it's all canonical. So it's like, no, this counts. Everybody should have done their homework before they watched a movie. But I just spent an hour talking about that when I reviewed Episode 1.
Sorry, I'm trying to get caught up. The Super Chats went crazy after I left.
Thanks, guys.
I'm going to ask you another one so you can get rolling on that while I find some more.
We'll have tonight probably at least an extra 10 minutes because I left too early on the last show, so we should have time to catch up on everything. Go ahead.
All right, Malik Myers Reborn. I like, actually, that the Phase 4 doesn't feel like a setup slate. It feels like they're just making movies in their universe.
I like that too. I'm a little bit mixed on it. I still have that question of, is that the smartest way to do business? Because for my part as a fan, and narratively speaking, I'm with ya. I like that it's like Phase 1, and even less like that, because Phase 1 was setting up to Avengers. Like, the end of every movie was like, oh, we're introducing another Avenger, or the Avengers Initiative is happening, or, there's gonna be Avengers. So, like, the first Thanos is the Avengers, but... who are we waving at your wife? Is that
yeah, my son's going to sleep.
Okay, good night! But anyway, so I do kind of appreciate that we're just telling stories. Now, it is possible, because we haven't seen any of these movies yet, that we are building to something we just don't know what it is yet. It's possible the after credit scenes starting with, I wouldn't think Black Widow, because that's a prequel, but then Captain Marvel is becoming more important, like right away. Like, it's set 20 years earlier, but and this is one of my issues with the way they're handling that. Even though, like, retroactively we add all that stuff and we put in the scrolls and stuff, and now suddenly Talos is back and things matter from that we never even knew about. So that could happen with Black Widow, but with what is the next movie right after that? Shang-Chi, and then I think there's even one of the Disney Plus shows happens before that. Is it Falcon Winter Soldier?
I think that's the first one, yeah. Since
they put the Disney Plus shows in the slate, if we end up actually leading to anything, all of those things could be setting that stuff up. Those shows are all, I'm sure, going to be in sync with what the movies are doing, at least for the present day stuff. So anyway, so I'm suggesting that it's too early to say we're not leading to anything, even though we haven't right away said that in that slate. But if we're not, it's hard to say if people will stay as interested past Endgame. I still think that is potentially a concern, because and I had some backlash when I made that video, and I'm just speculating. I'm just suggesting it could be an issue. I don't know if it is, and I also, in my defense, didn't check the numbers and did not realize that Captain Marvel had made $1 billion. I can't believe that movie got there, but apparently that was a $1 billion movie. And so some people were like, well, Cap, this video's silly because they're already proving that people are still really super interested. And I think for certain individual movies, absolutely they will be. But keep in mind, that movie makes $1 billion right before and during Endgame. So, like, people thought they needed to see that movie in order to see Endgame. I'm not convinced a sequel will necessarily do that well, because there's the money, and then there's how people seem to feel about that, and that movie was kind of a mixed bag for people, and I don't know how well the merchandising sold, but I'm seeing Captain Marvel stuff everywhere that nobody's buying. Like, I don't know how popular this character actually is, beyond just it's MCU and the MCU is popular. So anyway, so I think there's still a question of if they can retain the level of interest they've had. I'm not saying that they're in any danger of falling apart and not making movies after Phase 4. That is not what I'm saying. I also think that they are, like I said in that video, in such a cushy position that if their movies stop doing quite as well, all they have to do is slash the budgets by like 20 million, and they're still in really good shape, right? Like, even if their movies started just bringing in what, like, say, the first Ant-Man movie did, you can run a whole studio on those numbers. You don't have to be Avengers Endgame and still have a well-oiled machine that's employing the thousands of people. So I don't think they're in any shape of falling apart completely, but I do think there is still a little bit of that concern for the whole superhero fatigue thing. Where do you land on that, DJ?
On what?
Do you
I forgot what the original question was.
I'm just asking you if you think that there's still, because I've been getting in a debate with people about this. Do you think that there is some concern about the whole superhero fatigue thing? That with the way we concluded stuff so hard with Endgame, moving forward, is there question about whether or not people are going to stay as interested as they were? I've got friends that aren't. I've got huge superhero fan friends that do not care anymore past Endgame.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say. I think it's actually the opposite. I think big fans are the ones that are burnt out, and normal people aren't yet.
Okay, interesting.
Which is weird, but I think that's how it's working because, like, we have been in this so much. Well, most of it is because we don't. I think the people that are burnt out are the ones that aren't liking it, right? The people that
well, yeah,
that aren't liking.
There's that. Yeah, there's that too.
But I mean, it's crazy if you look at. I mean, the top three. Well, the top three right now are. Of this year, like, are Captain Marvel, Avengers Endgame, and Aladdin, but Spider-Man's right about to pass Aladdin, so it's like superheroes are still the most popular thing. But like you said, it is the end of it, so it's kind of hard to say. But people are really excited about this Phase 4 stuff.
Looking at the general population and getting like just general regular casual moviegoers and forgetting about us yahoos that live and breathe and eat this on a regular basis. Because Eric and I have talked about this a lot, and Eric thinks that seems to think that after Endgame there's going to be maybe less interest because that was such a culmination of everything, and then some of people's favorite characters are gone now, and do they have enough to keep people interested? And I'm a little bit worried about that as well. But to your point, Endgame was so satisfying for a lot of people that maybe continues to create consumer confidence just in the universe and the product, right?
Yeah, I mean, how many TV shows? How many TV shows stick the landing? It's like Breaking Bad and then nothing. Like, Marvel stuck the landing for, like, I mean, pretty much everyone. I know some people didn't like it, but most people were pretty satisfied with it. So, like,
yeah, absolutely,
they didn't lose their the confidence in the studio with that. I mean, I do think that they will lose some people because of the characters they like aren't coming back. But I mean, as long as the first few in Phase 4 are good, I think people will still stick with them.
I want to answer a question that Rohit Dahar just put in. He says, "Cap, by your logic about Captain Marvel, wouldn't the same thing apply to to Black Panther as being financially successful due to it being before and leading up to Infinity War?" I see why you're saying that, but I think they're different things. Partly because Black Panther was heralded as, like, a major important movie, and it succeeded at being that. Captain Marvel, there was an attempt made at that, and I don't know how successful it was at that. I think, like, it made money, people went and saw it. I don't think it was necessarily because, oh boy, there's another female superhero, isn't that important? Like, I think the Black Panther thing was important for people, and that had something to do with why it made as much money as it did. But beyond that, Captain Marvel was going to be post that movie introduced in Endgame. people would have thought they needed to see that movie to understand who that character was. That's actually not true, really. She sort of just comes in and becomes a Deus Ex Machina. But with Black Panther, he had already been introduced in Civil War, and you weren't going to be confused necessarily if, I mean, like, yeah, there's stuff in Infinity War that uses that has Wakanda in it, but like, I don't know that people would have necessarily seen that as a necessary movie to go to see Infinity War. And considering the Infinity War numbers versus Black Panther, even though that movie did really well, obviously some people must have not seen Black Panther that went to Infinity War, unless all of that is accountable by repeat viewings. But like, I think some people must have not seen Black Panther. And like, I'm not saying that everybody saw Captain Marvel, but I'm just saying that I think some people probably thought that was going to be necessary because they knew she was going to be in Endgame. I certainly talked to people that thought that. That's you know, just kind of random innocuous information from just myself, like the 5 people I talked to. It's not a big sample set. All right, DJ, let's do some more super chats, buddy.
All right, Mr. Roboto, $5 super chat. Cap and DJ, we will Patreon for you to review Cats the musical movie. Have you seen the trailer?
I have not. Everybody keeps saying nightmare fuel. I saw
amazing.
A picture or two of what the cats look like, but I have not sat down and looked at that trailer. We're trying to keep it MCU tonight. I figured that would come up tomorrow. I will make sure and look at it before tomorrow, and we can talk about it there.
Yeah.
I'm down though. We can make it a goal. I would be willing to make that a goal, DJ.
I'll commentary that.
Well, it wouldn't be a commentary. It would just be a review. We would just have to go see it in the theater and talk about it.
That's true. All right, David Crabtree, another $5. I'm intrigued by the What If series. I love a What If episode where, now stay with me here, where the deaths actually matter in the MCU. He's been on this a lot. I don't necessarily agree with him, but I'll let you take that one.
Sure. Well, he's not the only person complaining about that. I like that we haven't had any real cheap resurrections as far as the deaths with Infinity War and Endgame. It's just ways to have alternate versions of characters to keep those actors around and keep those and use those characters in some capacity. I understand the frustration there to some degree. Obviously, full spoilers for everything, guys. No way around it. But with Endgame, losing Black Widow, it looks like that's going to stick. I don't think they'll resurrect her. I will cry major foul if she's brought back in any way at all, considering the way she went out. I kind of wish we could have done the same thing with Gamora for the same reason, because she had one of my favorite death scenes in anything. It's great and made me love that actress. I have the same thing with Gamora that I have with Superman. She had to die before I cared. But she is phenomenal in that movie, and I guess now I'm a little bit more interested in seeing more Zoe Saldana even playing a different version of the character, just because I finally got one over on her acting. I loved her in that movie, and she's fine in Endgame too. So like, now I guess I like Saldana in that role in a way I didn't used to. But I digress. So we've got Loki. It's going to be that alternate version. People keep saying alternate version. I didn't actually look into this. I'm assuming it's the one from Endgame that disappears in that timeline. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. They implied that.
Okay, so I called that. When he gets that cosmic cube and leaves, I'm like, oh, okay, that's the way they're going to bring him back for his TV show. And I argued with people about it, and they're like, no, they wouldn't do that. I was like, yeah, that's what they're going to do. That's why you give him the cube and you have him disappear there. Like, obviously, because they don't want people to cry foul. You know, they don't want to bring back the original actual Loki, and that's how they could do it without people crying foul. People are still going to cry foul. But anyway,
well, they definitely confirmed that, because people are kind of upset that he now has been regressed.
Yeah,
he doesn't go through his Dark World arc and his Ragnarok arc.
That's right.
And everything. So it's kind of interesting. Same thing with Gamora. I mean, she hasn't had her.
Well, and I'm more annoyed about the Gamora thing. There's no way around it, I guess, if you still want her in the films, but I don't want to watch a movie where they have to fall in love again.
Yeah.
I always hate that in TV shows, That's like a big TV trope where you find some way to like wipe away a romance so that people will theoretically still be interested in it. Where it's like, oh, once we put this couple together, nobody's gonna care anymore. Yeah, nobody ever had that with Star-Lord and Gamora. Just put them together and move on. So that's unfortunate. But at the same time, I liked her death, so I wish she was just staying dead and Star-Lord could just grieve and mourn and then move on and find somebody else. But anyway.
Yeah, it's even weirder because one of them has the memories and one of them doesn't,
yes.
Which makes it weird. That's always weird.
Yeah. But anyway, what was his actual question?
Yeah.
He just mentioned
he's excited about What If.
Me too. We have confirmed that it's going to be all the original actors coming back and reprising their roles in voiceover, which is exciting. I figured that's what they would do, but I'm glad that we've got it confirmed. And I'm not sure how I feel about that big set of pictures they put up where they've got all the headshots of a bunch of actors that are going to be in that show, because it kind of spoils some of the stories they might go back to. Like Zola's in there, so we know they'll do something with either First Avenger or with a Winter Soldier or something.
Yeah. I didn't look at that list, but I saw a picture of it, and it's like 40 people on there. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, if you want to be completely surprised by what they do with that, don't look at that list. Although, some of those characters could come back in really unlikely, surprising ways. Of course, I'm really excited about it. Have they confirmed for sure that it's 3D animation? I'm just assuming it is.
I don't think so. I haven't heard anyone say anything except for animated, so I don't know.
Are you with me on that, though? Probably 3D?
Probably.
Because if they're bringing back all the voices, I would assume that the idea would be to try to make it look as close to the actual MCU as possible. Like, I don't know that they'll try to go super realistic or anything, but if you do it in 3D, you can... Maybe the conventional wisdom is it's easier to imagine you're watching those movies as opposed to doing some, like, really stylistic 2D thing.
I don't know, though, because all of they're children's shows, so it's a little different, but all of the Disney Marvel shows are 2D. And I don't know what the Hulu adult animated series is going to be. I assume those are going to be 2D as well.
But that's why I'm assuming this will be 3D to separate it from that stuff and to say that we're not
that's
a
true.
kiddie thing.
Well, I mean, those adult Hulu shows.
No, I know, but I'm just talking about compared to the current animation they're doing. I don't know about the Hulu shows. But
I doubt those will be. I don't think they have the budget to do 3D animation for like adult MODOK show. Like that's not going to be a high budget thing.
But Back Studio says I think I'd actually like to see it in 2D. I mean, either way, I think I'd like to see that. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it honestly either way if the 3D looks good. But I'm just predicting it'll probably be 3D. That's my guess.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that. That's a good question. Christian Ogden, $10 super chat. Thanks, guys.
Hey, thank you.
Not a fan of Iron Man 3, and the Mandarin stunt had a lot to do with it. So hearing a character I never heard of gets to fight Iron Man's arch enemy makes me even madder at Iron Man 3, hoping to be won over.
Yeah, I understand that. And it's going to be really awkward. Like, I don't know if there's going to be even an attempt to connect that up with the fake Mandarin, because the real Mandarin is, it sounds like, going to be connected to the Ten Rings outfit, like, terrorist organization, like it always ought to have been if you weren't going to do the fake Mandarin thing. I mean, some of you guys have watched my rewind. Within the confines of that film, I like that reveal fine, and I think it works really well. But it is really strange that we have that Ten Rings thing and we never pay it off. And at the very least, I wish the Slattery thing had been like pretending to be that and maybe somehow knowing about it and like acting like it's actually that thing or something. But like, it's really weird that we've got a fake Mandarin and it's not connected in any way whatsoever with the Ten Rings. Like, he just pulls that out of whole cloth. I realize that we now have also a short film that makes that work, but I don't know how many people actually watched that or if they're even considering that canonical. So when they do the Shang-Chi thing, I'm very curious to see how that relates, if at all, to the Slattery thing. But that's also a character that, like, it does suck that he never went up against Iron Man. I'm with you. But if he's going to be anywhere, that's the movie to put him in.
Yeah, I'm confused. Is he going to be the real Mandarin with magic rings and everything? Because Shang-Chi is just a martial artist, so like I don't know how that's like.
And is he supposed to be like his? Is it the Batman Begins thing where he's like his mentor and then he goes bad or something? Or like I guess I don't know how they're using him, or if he's just the bad guy in that movie.
Yeah, I don't think we know anything about it. Did you know that the actor for Shang-Chi got cast like the Monday before, like the week of?
I did hear that. Yeah.
Like, so they must. I don't know how far they could even possibly be in that movie.
Yeah, and a lot of I don't want to make a big. I don't want to talk too much about this, but there were a lot of like clickbait articles that I saw that were like, "Look, Marvel cast a Chinese man as Shang-Chi." I was like, "Yeah, is anybody surprised by that?" Like, yeah, yes, they did. Okay.
There we go. T Edge.
Good job. I don't. Anyway, go ahead.
We have a super chat from T Edge 1.
Yeah, thank you.
Since they have announced the slate he wrote douse, does that make your video obsolete or change your opinion on the future of the MCU? I love the show.
Hey,
bunch of heart emojis.
No, it doesn't, and I mean, like, my opinion is just, I don't know what opinion to have, guys. Like, it's just, things are just up in the air in my mind, is all. Having the slate doesn't really change too much in the video I made because we knew all of that. Like, we didn't know exactly when certain things were coming out. We didn't know we'd get Blade down the road and stuff like that. But yeah, like I said earlier, I think there are still reasons to be a little bit concerned about the tack that Marvel is taking. I'm not even saying they should be doing anything else necessarily, except because I'm with Malik. I like that they're not like immediately going and Secret Invasion. Like I appreciate if they're not doing that. I do appreciate that, and just telling some stories and then maybe connecting some stuff up again later. I appreciate that there's not an Avengers film in this slate. As a viewer, I appreciate that. I don't know business-wise if that's what they need to be doing in order to keep people interested. I really, really, really hope it works. And if it does, then they won't have to... They'll have precedent to not have to rely on gimmicks and rely on big events every time. And so that's nice. But, yeah, we didn't really learn a lot of... I mean, we learned new stuff about the individual projects. I guess the only big new movie we had was Thor 4, but we also already knew about that before Comic-Con because it leaked early.
Yeah. Yeah, and they can't really help that.
There was not one new project.
Yeah, that's what I kind of hate the internet, because everything is rumored and they have really nothing to present. Although they weren't really planning on coming to this till last minute. They weren't going to come. They were just going to do everything at D3, so they might still have some stuff to present at D3 that they're holding on to. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mr. Roboto, this is probably something we'll get into tomorrow, but we can talk about it quickly. If we get a film Captain Kirk and a TV Kirk, would that work for the Star Trek franchise?
Yeah, try to bring... Was this another Super Chat?
Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah, try to keep it MCU tonight. We've got another 25 minutes or so. You potentially, I don't know. Like, I don't think if you made them different enough, I don't think people will be all that confused. It won't happen for a couple of reasons. First of all, we're not doing any more movies set in the Kelvinverse, in the 09 continuity. At least right now, Chris Pine's out of contract. He's not going to do it. So I don't even see how that would ever happen. And there's not a Kirk on the table for television right now either. So I really can't imagine the situation in which that would happen. And also, there's a lot of talk right now that CBS and Viacom might be remerging. And if that eventually happens, then Star Trek will be under one roof again. And so if you had a Kirk on TV and on film, chances are it would be the same Kirk, unless they decided to have two completely different franchises going on at the same time just for different audiences. But if it was under one roof, I would imagine synergy. And if that happens, if the Picard show is huge, and then CBS and Viacom merge again within, say, like the next couple of years, I think we will see nothing but forward movie prime canon original Star Trek, which under the right pens would just be my dream come true, and I would be so super excited about that. I think suddenly there's reason to be really optimistic about the future of Star Trek. For lots of reasons, but one of them is because the Picard show looks potentially awesome. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, Malik Myers Reborn. Well, Cap, you got to... I imagine you talked about this while I was gone. Well, Cap, you got to remember Spider-Man is still owned by Sony, and neither of his films were announced when Marvel announced Phase 3.
Yeah, that makes me wonder if they just don't have all that solidified yet. Like, they don't have it set in stone that they're getting to make another movie. I have to assume they are, because DJ, they're crazy people if they end on that cliffhanger, not knowing not having a pretty good sense that they're going to get to keep using that character. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't that be crazy?
Well, I don't know if they think that far ahead, because the cliffhanger from the last episode or the last movie seemed like they didn't know where they were going with that either. Because I
agree with you, but that's not as big of a cliffhanger. It's really not. Like the whole, again, spoilers for everything. The whole
spoiler.
World
Mysterio is Mysterio.
The whole world knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man is a much bigger deal than Aunt May found out. Okay, it just is. Like, you could stop making Spider-Man movies there and just be, okay, it's a world where Aunt May knows that he's okay. But to not follow that up is nuts.
Yeah. But I mean, no one else in the Marvel universe, in the MCU, has a secret identity. So, and he's really so different than Spider-Man already. I don't know if it's going to be that huge of a deal.
And as much as it was fun to get that in the theater, especially because nothing very bad has happened to this Peter Parker yet, and Peter Parker usually has to deal with a lot of adversity. It does kind of suck that our one superhero with a secret identity doesn't have one anymore.
Yeah,
that's kind of rough. But no, Malik, I'm with you. I'm confused by Feige's comments that is the whole slate, because he said some things could get moved around, but he didn't say anything has the potential to be added. And you'd think if you're in the background negotiating with Sony and you're thinking there is probably going to be another Spider-Man, you'd have put that on there. I think he mentioned somewhere Spider-Man, but I don't know if he was talking about it being in the next phase or what. So if anybody has that information, let me know, because I read this secondhand and I didn't actually watch the interview. There was an interview with him I watched, but it wasn't the one where he apparently talked about that. So anyway, I didn't watch his stage presentation. So like, the other thing I'm confused about is, and I don't know if this was just wrong or misreported or what, I saw a list of dates, DJ, and after the slate was announced. And on this list of dates for 2020 and 2021, there were 2 untitled movies listed. Like, the slate is not complete. He's revealed what he's willing to reveal, but they're actually going to do one more movie, and it's going to be 3 a year, like it has, plus the Disney Plus shows. But that's not what it sounded like coming from him. So I'm very confused about that.
Yeah, I don't feel like Sony would let them go like 4 years without making another Spider-Man movie. I feel like it's in the contract they have to keep making them every 2, maybe 3 years, right?
Well, yeah, but it could be 3. I'm just saying, I'm surprised, because the first 2 only had 2 years in between, and as I keep talking about, because I think this is crazy math, we've had 6 movies in 3 years with Spider-Man in them. It's fascinating to me if we have another 3 years with no Spider-Man movie at all.
Well, did you see that thing that was someone uncovered, like, in the contract, they dug it up that Far From Home had to make $1 billion in order for Marvel to keep Spider-Man? Did you see that?
So I heard someone say that, but I didn't know if there was any truth to it.
Yeah, so I think they just didn't know, but it's already past $1 billion, so I think we're fine. I think there's definitely gonna be a third one.
Yeah, like, I think we'll get one. I'm just a little surprised that it's not. A, I'm surprised that it wasn't on that slate for 2021, and B, I don't understand what's going on with those untitled movies and if there's anything to that.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with them having so many franchises within the MCU, is that, like, we used to get superhero movies every 2 years in franchises, but now that they have so many different superheroes, they can't do it unless they do like 6 a year. Like, we can't keep getting sequels.
Yeah, but at least we've got TV now to go to. At least they can put some characters over there.
Yeah. That's true.
And honestly, I think the Disney Plus shows are going to do a lot to keep people interested. So, like, I think that's probably the best business move they're making. The only thing that could be potentially bad about that is people who don't want to watch those, or don't care about that, don't want to pay for Disney Plus, go to all the movies and are lost somewhere. So they have to be really careful that the movies are such that you don't have to watch those shows like, there's not too much in the movies that require watching those shows.
Yeah, they might repeat the same problem that Marvel made with the comics.
Yeah.
It's like, if you split Craven's Hunt in 3 different Spider-Man books, and I have to get all 3 of these books, like that's why a lot of people drop off comics. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what goes on with that.
Yeah, they got to be careful about that, I think, because that's the thing is like you're walking a line between a casual audience and a diehard audience for the MCU, and then the diehard comic people that are also like it's kind of 3 different audiences, right? And the people who really like the movies but don't want to have to commit to TV shows, if you leave them in the dust, I don't know how big of your take that is, but that could be a mistake. I don't know how big of a mistake that is, but that could be a mistake. I'm
really hoping these shows are like Stranger Things, like 8 episodes, and that's it. Oh, they should not be that long.
Well, they are. We already know that they're short, and we also already know that they're miniseries, and they're not doing it like Netflix, where it's like season 1, season 2. Like each of those is going to be just a miniseries, which is great.
That's good. Yeah, that's great.
I guess they could down the road get sequel miniseries, but they're not like bound to every year we have to make one.
Yeah. T-Edge 1, I imagine this happened when I dropped. He said, "There is no DJ, only Zool."
Wow. Okay, so we're that far behind on Super
Chats.
Yes,
we have
need
9. I think we have 8 or 9 left.
Okay, thanks everybody. We sure appreciate it. Let's get with it. Here we go.
All right, Creepy Spacey, do you guys think Blade will fight Dracula?
I
hope not in the first one.
I don't know. That'd be cool. Did you say you hope not in the first one?
Not in the first one. I want to at least build up to that a little bit.
Well, I mean, the first thing I'd like to see is Morbius, but he's supposed to get his own Sony movie, so...
So weird.
It's also weird because I keep hearing things about Kraven the Hunter in MCU, but isn't he also supposed to get his own Sony movie? So
yeah,
are they using him in both places, or is that all rumor?
Well, yeah, it was... Someone asked the director of Spider-Man Homecoming if you like Kraven. All he said was, "Oh yeah, sure, I love Kraven. I'd love to use him." But the question is, how do you use him in the MCU? And that's all he said. So it's not like he's talking about it. He just likes the character.
Yeah,
so
we like to really run off with ourselves with those interviews, don't we? The director was asked about a thing, and the name of that character came out of his mouth. That must confirm something. No, it doesn't. Stop it.
But no, yeah, I think Dracula would be cool.
I do too. I would really like the MCU to eventually, or to finally, I don't want to say eventually, do it now, to finally go to some of those kind of wilder and more elemental and, more fable places beyond just Thor.
Definitely.
They're so concerned about being grounded, once we get to more multiversal stuff, I feel like maybe they'll get a little bit looser and we can finally just straight up have magic. It'd be nice if Shang-Chi was the place where it's actually really magic, and it's not even the Doctor Strange thing where it's sort of magic, but it's sort of science. Yeah, it'd be really nice if we could finally just straight up say, and I don't mean make all the stuff come from another universe. I'm just saying, if we are going as far as multiple dimensions, could we please finally do that? I get that you can say there's scientific theories to support that, but can we finally just say we're doing Cosmic Marvel now, and we're going to blow your mind occasionally. Sometimes you're going to have to think kind of hard to get your mind around the crazy stuff we're doing. Can we just be okay with that and just do that? I'm not even saying Dracula's that cosmic. I'm just saying it sounds even potentially more out there than what Marvel might be okay with doing.
Yeah.
I hope not.
As long as they don't do punk rocker, shaved head, Trinity, Blade Trinity Dracula. David Crabtree, I think the Lady Thor thing is stupid, but I say give Portman a shot at playing Thor since Hemsworth hasn't portrayed Thor for a few years now.
Well, I get the facetious thing you're saying there. Obviously, if Natalie Portman is becoming female Thor, that's not actually Thor. It's a completely different character. It's weird in the comics, too, that we call it Thor, because Thor's not a mantle. It's the only issue I ever had with that stuff. I've read some of it. What I've read of it is wonderful. One of the things that's fun about it, of course, is that you don't know who Lady Thor is, and then it's a reveal that it's Jane Foster. We can't do that in the MCU. Immediately, they've already said, oh, it's Jane Foster, and if you're going to cast that actress, you can't make it a secret. The thing is, female Thor in the comics doesn't look anything like Jane Foster. She's like this other character that's kind of created out of Jane who has amnesia and doesn't know who she is and talks like an Asgardian. And so I wish they were going that direction with it, because they could have blown audiences' minds again. Oh, it's Jane Foster. And I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would have found out about it. You would have had a lot of fanboys all over the internet that would tell everybody, oh, it's going to be Jane Foster. And then maybe when they saw that, they could have made it somebody else. I don't know who it would have been, but maybe they could be like, nah, psych! It's not Jane Foster. But, I'm with David, honestly. I'm not real excited about that team trying the female Thor thing. And B, I don't see Portman having the gravitas to pull it off. I bet it's going to be a completely different thing than what it is in the comics, which is, if I'm right about that, is unfortunate, because she's a really interesting character, and again, she's got a lot of presence, she's got a lot of gravitas. If Portman does manage to pull that off and performs it right, it will blow my mind, and I'll be very excited. Like, I would love to be proven wrong on that, but I just don't see her being right for the part.
Interesting. Well, I don't have any problem with her doing it. She's an Oscar-winning actress. I think she could do it. But the idea that they would have a different actress player, I heard some people talking about that. That would be crazy if they did like a 70s Incredible Hulk thing where it just turned into this big muscular actress. That'd be cool.
I wish they were doing that. It makes a lot more sense to me. And I'm not with you. I've seen Portman in movies that I've liked. She's never done anything like that, and I don't see her as an actress with range. Like, I don't think she has versatility. I don't see it. Like, I like her in Annihilation. I've liked her in stuff. I don't see her coming in and being like a superhero. I don't see it.
Okay.
I hope I'm wrong.
We have a $20 super chat from Malik Myers. Doctor Strange is also the Phase 4 announcement I'm most excited about, and being a huge horror fan, I'm excited to see Marvel attempt that genre, because we've never really had that before, and Wanda co-starring is inspired.
Yeah, it's exciting. I agree with all that. I don't have anything to add, but I agree with all that. Everybody say hi to Eric. Hello to Eric!
Eric! There he is, guys. You can see him now and then on the SSSS. Join on Patreon.
Yes, and he'll be back on the channel soon with some comic reviews, and he and I are shooting an After Dark tonight, so...
I did want to shout out to the SSSS, because I see a lot of people in the chat asking what Dan thought about the Phase 4 announcements and what Eric thought about it. They've both said their thoughts on the Facebook group, so if you have the means to join it, go ahead and join, and it's a lot of fun in there.
Once again, that's the $5 tier on Patreon. It's a Facebook group that's close to everybody but that tier, and we have a really great time there. It's a really respectful, thoughtful group. A lot of great, meaningful debate there. You can express your opinions and speak your mind, and not be worried about any kind of retaliation or anything. Everybody is all real respectful there. How many more super chats, sir?
I think we're about 6.
All right, let's do it.
All right, let's blow through these. Captain Marvel from The Day Ghost. Sorry, Captain Marvel is the most popular Marvel character ever. I was disappointed that they mostly just announced shows instead of movies. Well, it was split. It was half and half.
It's half and half. We already knew about about I guess all those shows, because I think we already knew about the Hawkeye show too. Yeah.
I hadn't heard about it, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't rumored. I
feel like that's information we had.
Yeah, that was the only one that was a surprise to me.
It didn't surprise me, so I must have known about it, or just been like, well, yes, of course, a Hawkeye show. I'm pretty sure we knew about that. I thought we talked about that on this show. I'm not sure. I think he's making a joke when he says Captain Marvel's the most popular Marvel character. Is he doing Is he doing the Venom thing? Venom is the most popular. Is he doing the Avi Arad thing? Is that what he's doing?
Yeah, I don't know.
Did I miss
no context?
Did I miss some part of that question?
No, that was it. Okay. He's just disappointed that they did shows. He wanted more movies.
I think you're gonna get some backlash from folks that find out about that down the road that aren't paying attention to Comic-Con news if we get fewer movies a year and they're replacing that third movie with TV shows. But again, I'm confused about that whole Untitled thing. Maybe we are getting 3 movies in a year, but I don't get why Feige didn't talk about that, so I'm confused.
We're all confused.
We're all confused.
From
we have no idea what's going on.
I don't recognize this name immediately. Miles Smith, thoughts on Hickman taking over X-Men? Comic reader.
I am more excited about that about X-Men than I have been in a long time. I have not really been keeping up with X-Men. I haven't cared, and whenever I have gone back in and looked at a little bit of it, it all feels like rehash. X-Men is where I haven't cared about X-Men since Bendis, really. So that's been what, 7 or 8 years, 6, 7 years. I have always wanted to see Hickman on X-Men. I think that's absolutely perfect, and I'm excited about it. I will definitely be reading that. Probably late, probably down the road, probably 6 months behind, but I will be reading that.
Nice. Game Station 3. Quick question. How's the Ant-Man review coming along?
I'm working on it. That's all I'll say. It's going fine. Thanks for asking.
Swell. It's going well.
I should have it written this week before I leave to see Dan. I'm going to Boston this Sunday. Going to be spending the whole week with Dan. Dan and I are going to be making a number of videos, and this is a good time to mention this. We're going to be doing a live show next week on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. So Tuesday night, I want to say 7 Central, but I gotta talk it over with Dan and see exactly when that's going to be, and we're going to be in the Eastern time zone there also, but so it'll just depend on when's good for him, but he and I will be broadcasting. We may have DJ, I'm not sure yet, but anyway, so show with Dan next week. Check it out, tell your friends, and anyway, yeah, just want to bring that up. I forget what the question was.
You answered it. It was about Ant-Man.
Okay, sweet. Yeah. So I'm going to try to have it written before I leave. I probably won't have the whole video ready to post before I go. So that should go up the week after I come back. But if I get real overzealous, maybe. But I don't think that'll happen.
All right. From Pandora, we have the writer of all 3 John Wick films working on Falcon and Winter Soldier. The John Wick trilogy is one of the best of the decade. Thoughts?
I think Falcon Winter Soldier has every potential of being one of the best things in the MCU. It's so cool that that's who's working on it. That's also the thing I'm most excited about because I love Falcon and I always wanted him to get his own movie. And the only thing better than him getting his own movie is me getting to watch him for 6 or 8 straight hours. I can't wait. Cut the check. It's the best. My expectations are very high, and I think that's justified. I think you can. Sweet. I think your expectations can be in the absolute stratosphere, and we will love that show. If we don't, I'll be really surprised and really disappointed. I think and they have a lot of confidence in it because they're leading with it. That's the show that is starting Disney Plus, and or is it a little bit later? I think it's the first Marvel show that's going to be on Disney Plus. We just today found out that Disney Plus is going to be launching with a lot of Star Wars and very little Marvel. They're going to have both trilogies, both of the initial trilogies up right away, plus a couple of the offshoot films, and then I think The Mandalorian starts right away. So it's going to be real Star Wars heavy, which, considering the reputation of Star Wars the last couple of years, I'm a little surprised by. I'd think that they'd go the other way, and it would be real Marvel heavy right away, considering we just got done with Endgame, but that's what they're doing. So it's interesting. I thought they were going to launch with more than it sounds like they are, just overall. But it's still going to be enough to make everybody and his dog want that service, I think.
How's
it going?
Sorry, I was reading. I was really into the question. Last super chat from David Crabtree.
It's the last one, people.
Whoa, that's really loud.
Is it, though?
It is in my ears.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know about them.
I apologize. I'm so sorry.
Cap got really into ASMR over the last couple weeks, by the way, guys. Just letting you know.
I'm thinking about starting my own channel. It's just going to be me going, no, Batman.
You should just read comics. Hey, you should do your entire food novel as an ASMR audiobook.
That sounds like a terrible idea. Okay. G-Stone says, but we need a Wanda show. Yeah, but we're getting WandaVision.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Like, that is the Wanda show. Do you just really need a show that doesn't have Vision in it? Is that very important to you?
Is it weird to you?
I see. I think he is being facetious for some reason. Sorry. I'm confused. He's not excited about Falcon and Winter Soldier because he doesn't think we need those shows. And yeah, okay. Yeah.
Too much Falcon. What are you talking about, man? We've only seen him like a couple times.
And also, you can't have much Falcon is not possible. I mean, what I wanted, I just love Falcon. What I wanted was for him to get a Captain America series, and it were like of movies. This is even better than that. We know he's going to wear the Captain America suit in it. I don't know for how much of it, or if he just gets it at the end, or what. But I saw an interview with him the other day where he had just gotten back from getting fitted for it, and I was like, yes. So anyway.
That's awesome.
Anthony Mackie will be working for the MCU for as long as they'll have him, because everyone there loves him and thinks he's the easiest person on the planet to work with. The reason he got thrown into Ant-Man was because, do you know about this? Apparently Paul Rudd, do you know that Paul Rudd worked on that script? He has story credit on that movie.
I did not know that.
I had forgotten about it, and I've been researching Ant-Man. Paul Rudd is in his hotel room with the co-writer. They're reworking the script, because originally that was Edgar Wright, and then they for some reason the star of the film got to help co-write. I don't know. And no, G Stone, I'm not angry. I'm not angry that you don't care as much about Falcon as me. Nobody cares as much about Falcon as I do. I don't think. But you might after this show. That's my hope. But anyway, But they said, hey, wouldn't it be fun if Ant-Man fought an Avenger? And they went to Feige, and they didn't know if Feige would go for it. And he said, yeah, sure. And it sounds like they could have used pretty much anybody they wanted. And they were like, what needs to be... Like, it wasn't that it had to be a B-lister because they couldn't, spend the money on it or anything. They just decided that, Ant-Man's like a B-level kind of hero, and that's who he ought to fight, right? So they put in Falcon, and they put in Falcon because they love Anthony Mackie, and he's the easiest person in the world to work with, and that's why he's in the movie.
That's awesome. I forgot how many movies he's in. He's been in 5 or 6 movies now.
Yeah, and he was in 4 in a row. Do you realize this?
Oh, yeah, because...
He starts in Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier, then...
Ant-Man, or is it...
Ultron, then Ant-Man.
It's Ultron, and then Ant-Man, and then Civil War.
Then Civil War. Yeah, that's awesome.
Isn't Civil War the very next thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in 4 in a row.
That's awesome.
But he should be in all of them.
Just make a whole team of... he's like the Tommy Oliver of your MCU in your mind.
Oh,
just shove him in everything.
It's absolutely true. I love him so much. Oh, yeah, right. Where he just solves every problem. And, he just flies in the last minute. Everything revolves around him.
There's just a team of 5 Falcons in the comics.
Yeah. Like the Avengers just wait for him to show up before they do anything, and then the moral of the story is always you have to have Falcon.
Well, and he's Falcon.
Which is great because Tommy had a Falcon sword.
Full circle. All right, finally, I'm going to get to this last super chat. David Crabtree, I think they can ignore the Spider-Man Far From Home cliffhanger since most people who saw the movie walked out before that scene somehow. Or anyhow.
Oh my god, I've never been more cringy at a theater in my life. And I sympathize with people who don't want to wait through the credits and who feel like I don't have this, but I get this mentality where if it's really important, you should give it to me during the film. Or at the very least after, you just throw up the cast names. But man, last time I saw Far From Home, I saw 4 or 5 people walk out, and I didn't want to be the raging fanboy guy. I wanted
you have to wait.
You guys, you're missing that. You're gonna miss the most important scene. Yeah, whatever. And one guy sits down and then sees that and go, okay, that guy back there with the question mark jacket was right.
Yeah, you don't want to be that guy. Well, when I saw Infinity War, after it went, the final after the credits, the Captain Marvel thing, the little logo on his thing, the lights came on and everyone was like, huh? What was that? And one of the guys who was cleaning up the theater was like, that's the Captain Marvel logo. She's a superhero. It was really funny.
It's gonna matter, maybe. I still say Captain Marvel should have come out before that movie.
Yeah, because then everyone would have been like, oh, that's who that is.
Either it should have been before that or it should have been after it. It should not have been where it was. Anywhere but where it was.
That's true. That's kind of the one thing. You should, I usually am an advocate for watching things in chronological order, but that's the one thing I'd be okay with moving in a marathon watch, because that would make much more sense if you moved that earlier.
Yeah.
Not all the way to where it fits chronologically, but just before Infinity War.
Especially because it adds such prequelitis, it wouldn't even feel right. You'd be like, there's things I need to see after this, and also there's no place to put it where it's perfect because it feels really retroactive. I'll never be okay with the eye patch thing. It's dumb. I hate it. I don't care what anybody says. I just don't like it. It's awful.
All right, guys, leave in the comments the explanation for the eye patch thing. We're gonna convince them.
Don't do that. You're not gonna. There's no convincing me. After watch that against Winter Soldier and tell me you still like it. It just doesn't work.
I didn't say I liked it. I'm just messing with you.
I mean, anybody. It's just my opinion, you guys. I'm not attacking anyone except for you.
I don't even think. I didn't even remember that in Winter Soldier.
I'm attacking you.
So I don't even
Whoever
think.
I'm pointing at right now, I'm attacking you. You're being attacked right now.
Oh, we just got another super chat.
Oh, cool.
Just under the wire, Mr. Roboto, have you considered the Thanos in the movie is a clone?
No, because I don't see how that works, or why he would be a clone. And if he was retroactively, that would just be like some real silly, retroactive comic nonsense where it's like, we want Thanos again. He was D20 roll. A clone!
Well, he was working on the moon, and they didn't want to pay people to work there, so they just kept.
People are still complaining they can't hear me. I don't know what's going on. Oh, it's the worst. Oh well.
Sorry, guys.
I'll
just whisper.
Guys. We gotta figure this out. Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
OBS.
There's nothing I can do about it on my end because I can't hear how it sounds. Like, all the levels are right. It sounds right between us. There's like, even if it was, I don't know. There's just no way to know.
People are saying audio is fine. Maybe it's just that one person.
Okay, thanks, Noah.
I can hear you.
Okay, hey DJ, let's do one more pre-written question, buddy.
All right, let's go back to the selected.
I want to make sure that we don't shaft the audience after last week's 53-minute full-hour Captain Logan show.
Connor had a good suggestion. I can't remember it now for what we should call those, like pre-selected or something.
Here?
No, this was a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
We asked for that.
Yeah, he said something that made sense, but sounded, I don't know, kind of technical.
Here we go. I'm trying to find a good one here. Some of these we kind of already answered.
Yeah.
Go ahead and vamp for me a little bit.
Can I bamf instead? Can I do bamf?
If you can, that'd be awesome.
Captain Logan's doing magic tricks.
How are they going to bring back Vision for WandaVision without making a plot hole for Endgame?
I think it's pretty simple. Potentially. The question is, does it make sense for Vision to still be in Wakanda and he just wasn't done being fixed yet? With where Wanda is at the end of Infinity War, where she would have to reconstitute after the 5 years. That's my question, because you could pretty easily say that somebody else came in and fixed Vision and brought him back out, or maybe they can't do it without Shuri, because doesn't she disintegrate?
Yeah, I don't know.
If Shuri disintegrates, then it could be like 5 years of we don't know what to do with this project she had sitting here with trying to bring Vision back to life. And then she comes back and she's like, this is how you do it, you mooks. And then she presses some buttons and he comes back. Or you could say that he was there the whole 5 years, but then that makes the ending of Endgame really awkward because it's just, he's actually alive. Wanda just didn't know about it.
I don't know, because it might not be as normal as you're thinking, because the one thing they kept saying at the panel was this show's weird, it's really weird, it's going to be weird. They just kept saying weird.
Oh, good. They're talking to people who didn't like Doctor Strange.
So like
well, and I'm not saying that Vision's going to be exactly the way he was. Without the Mind Stone, I could see him being kind of a completely different character, but he might be alive.
But I don't know if like WandaVision is also like WandaVision, which is how people are pronouncing it anyway, and it's like something with her powers, like she goes into, because they said it's going to be like this weird like 50s, she's going to go back to the 50s in her mind with her like powers thing, so it might not even be like a literal, I mean I'm sure he'll come back by the end, but it might be some weird like metaphysical WandaVision.
She's got WandaVision. It's like WonkaVision, but without chocolate bars. Yeah, I'm an idiot for having not thought of that, by the way. Just it being called WandaVision.
Yeah, because I
keep assuming that he's going to be a character of that from the beginning. But in my defense, it looked like Shuri was really close to fixing him.
She was like, she just had one more button to push, and then she just left.
That's what I thought. I thought he was going to be all right. And then it's like, nope, he's dead.
I love that he's just been sitting there for 5 years, and it's like they closed the room off, and they just left him there because they don't want to touch it.
Noah says, oh, she's probably going to meet Jarvis. Okay, if that happens, we need to make it really clear whether or not the Agent Carter show actually counts in continuity, because the Netflix shows are being kind of written out, and almost certainly, especially when they reboot inevitably Daredevil, right? And
S.H.I.E.L.D. is finally ending.
S.H.I.E.L.D. is ending, and they've always ignored S.H.I.E.L.D., but the only connection I can think of we've ever had between the TV shows and the movies is the actor who played Jarvis in that show is in Endgame.
Yeah. That was crazy. That was like one of the biggest things in that movie. Was like, oh my gosh.
I know, and I had to explain it to a lot of people because I just lost my mind. I was like, it was unprecedented. They've never mattered before. And so if he shows up in that show or there's any mention of Agent Carter, that means that they're going to single that out as the show they care about. And you know what? Fair enough. Because second season got a little too wacky for my taste, and I never finished it. But that first season fits really, really well with the continuity. There's some nice holes it fills in. It should count. It's great. Like, and it now feels like a thing that may have also informed the movies, and it's not just like the movies are canonical with it, but it's not canonical with the movies. It looks like there's maybe some synergy there, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite of the shows. I mean, besides the Netflix ones. I mean, definitely my favorite of the non-Netflix shows.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, whoa, that'd be crazy. William Parcell says, what if a slightly older Rogers pops up in the show since it's in the 50s?
That would be wild. I don't see it happening.
I don't want them to bring him back so soon. Because him and Downey are the big ones that
let's
have
sit
to
on that for a while. But we know that he's willing to come back in some capacity eventually. But don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it right away.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, DJ, I think that's going to do it for us tonight. It was a lot of fun hanging out with you, man. Thanks for doing this with me. So as I assumed, it was not difficult at all to do an entire hour plus on just the MCU announcements. Tomorrow night, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about everything else. So anything else that came up during Comic-Con or just other news from the past couple of weeks. Doesn't have to be related to Comic-Con. We didn't mention that Rutger Hauer passed away today. That is super, super sad. I love that actor. I can't believe that happened. He was 75, and it didn't even occur to me how old he was. He's one of those actors that, like, at some point got to a certain age and then stayed at that age, and then in my mind he was just actually like 50-something, and it just never occurred to me how old he was. But I didn't look into what exactly the cause was, but he passed away today. And Eric sent me a message and mentioned, because I hadn't thought of this, he died the exact same year that Blade Runner is set in, which is wild.
That's crazy.
Isn't that interesting?
I didn't know that.
But yeah, so that's really sad. But we'll talk about other stuff tomorrow. So everybody, thanks as always on that note. Everybody, thanks as always for watching. Sure appreciate it. Hope you had a good time. We sure did. Sorry about the audio issues. And we'll see you again tomorrow night at 7 o'clock Central. Bring your questions and topics about other news from the last couple of weeks. That's primarily what we'll be talking about. But tomorrow will also be sort of an Ask Us Anything show. We want it to be primarily about more Comic-Con stuff. But if there's other things you want to talk about, we can do that as well. We'll see you tomorrow. This is, I think, the first time we've ever done this. Oh, and also, secret goal tomorrow. We're going to do a goal tomorrow, and I'm excited about it. And I'll tell you what it is tomorrow. I'm Captain Logan. This was DJ Martinez.
See you later, guys. I don't know what the goal is either, so I'm looking forward to it.
I'll tell you about it right after this. See you later, folks.